If your kid's constipated, like they're skipping days, they're straining, they're having very big painful poops, or always seem bloated, I want you to hear something that most parents have never been told. Constipation is very often a nervous system issue first before it's ever a diet issue. So the reason this matters is because I talk to moms and dads all the time who tell me the same thing over and over and over again. Basically, they've done the water, right? They're making sure they're drinking a ton, they're doing the fiber, they've added magnesium, even saying things like we've cleaned up their diet, and still their kid isn't pooping well. And when that's the case, we have to stop only asking what are they eating and start asking what state is their nervous system living in. Because here's the deal, the nervous system really has two modes. It's either in a fight or flight mode over here, which is the protection mode, or it's in a healthy rest and digest, growth healing mode and regulation mode. And digestion only works well in one of those two states, okay? So when a child is under chronic stress, sensory overload, anxiety, poor sleep, emotional dysregulation, physical tension, their nervous system stays in fight or flight, and when that happens, digestion gets shut down. Now, this isn't because their gut's broken, but it's because the brain has decided that survival is more important than digestion. So there's actually research that has shown that stress can directly change gut motility. So slowing down how food moves through the digestive system and alters normal bowel movement patterns. So when the nervous system is stuck in a protective mode, it's very common to see things like constipation, bloating, belly pain, and inconsistent stools. So this is why constipation is almost never an isolated problem. When we see a constipated child, we often also see things like poor sleep and irritability or meltdowns all the time, right? Picky eating, maybe frequent illnesses, or even emotional regulation challenges. And that's not just a coincidence, right? That's the nervous system itself trying to hold on to things. And this fits directly into our Thriving Kids framework, where digestion and sleep and behavior and development are all downstream expressions of how regulated and how calm the nervous system is. So let's talk about where chiropractic care comes in. Digestion is controlled by the nervous system, specifically the parasympathetic nervous system, often called the rest, digest, and poop system, right? A major player in that system is something called the vagus nerve, which carries information between the brain and down to the gut, and also hits a bunch of other spots along the way. And interestingly, there are studies where researchers have artificially tried to stimulate the vagus nerve to improve digestion and gut function. And some of those methods will include things like implanted devices, electrical stimulation, or medical interventions designed to activate parasympathetic activity. And while those studies help confirm something really important, that parasympathetic activation improves digestion, what we find is that most parents don't want to subject their kids to have to go under surgery or injections or just experimental procedures just to help them poop, right? They want the least invasive first. They want natural options first, because having their kids go do those things just activates the fight or flight system on a whole different level, right? So it's all about least invasive first, and then if they ever had to, right, they might go there. But I would say 99.5% of the people that come to our office don't want that for their kids, right? They just want them to be able to poop and feel calm. And that's where chiropractic care comes in, right? Because the vagus nerve, it doesn't work in isolation. Its function is actually influenced by the central nervous system and the neurospinal system extending from the brain, especially in areas where stress, tension, and poor movement patterns can interfere with communication between the brain and the rest of the body. So chiropractic care works by reducing that nervous system interference, helping the body shift out of that fight or flight state and into a parasympathetic regulation state more naturally. So we're not forcing digestion, we're not overstimulating the system, we're helping the body remember how to regulate itself. One of our practice members, Billy, is a perfect example of this. When Billy came to our office at first, his parents were really worried. They had been told and seen that he might be on the autism spectrum. He wasn't communicating verbally well the way that other kids his age were. He struggled with regulation and his digestion was just a huge mess. But the biggest thing was that he didn't poop regularly, and when he did, consistency was just crazy off. So his parents were scared that this was just going to be what his life was, right? That thriving wasn't really in the cards for him. What's amazing is that as Billy started chiropractic care, one of the first things that changed wasn't his speech, it wasn't his behavior, it was actually his digestion. His bowel movements became more regular, less straining, way better consistency. And as his gut started regulating, something else happened that was amazing. His overall regulation improved, his communication started coming along, and the concerns that originally brought them in to begin with started to soften. And that's not because chiropractic care treats autism or fixes digestion. It's because when the nervous system starts to regulate the way that it's supposed to, then digestion, communication, and behaviors often just start to improve because the body just feels more calm overall. Billy's story lines up with a lot of chiropractic literature that's out there, a lot of studies. There are published case reports and case series showing improvements in chronic constipation in infants, toddlers, and children during chiropractic care, and those reports document changes like improved bowel frequency, reduced straining, and even softer stools and more consistent digestion. These consistently point to the same conclusion that we see clinically in our office every single week. When the nervous system is less stressed, when it's reduced, then digestion improves. There's also even more broad research that shows that chiropractic care can influence autonomic nervous system balance, including things like parasympathetic activity, and when parasympathetic tone improves, gut motility and digestion often improve with it. So when we're working with a constipated child or even a stressed constipated adult, we're not just chasing symptoms, we're addressing the root neurological stress pattern that's keeping the gut from functioning normally. So in our office, here's what we do. Here's what we're looking at. How much stress is the nervous system under? Whether the body is stuck in protection mode or not. How well the brain and gut are communicating. And whether the nervous system can actually switch into a rest and digest and calm and poop mode consistently. When those patterns change, parents often will tell us things like they're going every day now, they're not straining anymore, their belly just feels softer and not hard, especially in babies. We hear that a lot. And they're just calmer overall. Right? And that's what we expect to see when regulation improves. So if your child is constipated and you feel like you're doing everything from the diet changes, supplements, water, fiber, it might be time to look upstream to the root at the nervous system. Chiropractic care isn't about chasing pooping charts. It's about helping your child's body feel safe enough to digest, eliminate, and regulate the way it's designed to do it. If this resonates with you, reach out. We'll help you figure out if your child's constipation is a nervous system stress pattern and whether chiropractic care is the right next step for you.